Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to another video. My name is Rupkata Bhattacharjee and you're watching my channel which is named after me because I lack creativity. So I've been seeing a lot of people who wanted to start reading or to enjoy reading but were turned off because they did not have the attention span to sit through boring, slow-paced books, or they thought it would be too hard, especially for non-native English speakers. So I decided to curate a list of books in different genres that would be perfect for beginner readers that are easy, fast-paced and entertaining. I'll start from the science fiction genre. Now this is a genre that I don't read much from because I find myself a fan of realistic fiction or literary fiction more than science fiction. Though I do occasionally enjoy books in this genre and love reading them as well. So I'll start from Cryer's War by Nina Varela. This is a sequel to Cryer's War, the second in the duology, Ironheart. Now I think this is a perfect science fiction book for beginners who have not read science fiction books before. As we all know, a lot of science fiction books tend to be very complex, filled with mechanics, world building and workings of how the entire universe in that book works. So Cryer's War by Nina Varela is a stepping stone for people who want to in the future read books by Isaac Asimov, Brandon Sanderson and other complex sci-fi authors. I'll talk a bit about this book. So this is set in a world where autome, better known as robots if we do use a modern term, have enslaved humanity, even though autome were the ones built as slaves for humans. Ayla, a young human rebel, seeks to change things, but most importantly, she wants vengeance from the man who murdered her entire village and rendered her an orphan, and she knows just the way how to take it: kill the daughter of the man who killed her family. On the other side, we have Cryer, the said daughter, who is perplexed by a flaw in her very being. The flaw is that she can feel just like humans do, and this is not a trait that autome should possess or any possess. No autome has ever felt like Cryer does. Now when Ayla becomes a handmaiden of Cryer's, things start to change when they both realize that they are falling for each other. A very good read. It is fast-paced, entertaining, and it's not very heavy on the science fiction front and not really filled with romance as you would be expecting from the blurb that I have said right now. It's low on the romance, it has good world building, nice prose, everything that makes for a solid novel and anything that can be read by someone who has just begun reading in the science fiction genre. It's not very hard, there's not much purple prose mixed in. I think overall this book is particularly a good one, especially for a debut author. Just like Nina Varela is a debut author, if you are, if I do say so, a debut reader, read it, it's amazing. Moving on to the second genre, classics. For classics, I recommend The Color Purple by Alice Walker, where Celie, a young African-American woman, writes letters to God talking about her traumatic childhood and her subsequent marriage to a man twice her age. This is a very heavy book. Even though it is not hard to read, it is very easy for a beginner reader to read. In classics as well as in literary fiction, it deals with a lot of heavy topics. I recommend checking out the trigger warnings for it, and do not read it if you have not read the trigger warnings or you're not in the proper mental space to read something like that. So this book is written in epistolary format, so if you're a reader who also wants to check different forms of novels or different forms of literary works, this is also something that I will recommend. I find myself enjoying epistolary formats a lot, and this one is one that particularly made me fall in love with such a format. I hope it does the same for you. One thing that stands out for me from this book is there is explicable character development. The characters are so well written, everyone is fleshed out really well. I enjoyed it very much, and it is perfect for someone who is beginning to get into modern classics. This is not pre-20th century classic, this is a modern classic, a 20th century classic. So if you're more into 20th century classics, The Color Purple is where you should start. But if you're looking for something way beyond that, I recommend The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Now I know, Oscar Wilde, it sounds intimidating, but trust me, it is not at all. It is quite an easy read and wonderful for beginners who are getting to read classic fiction set before the 20th century, because honestly I don't know in which timeline this is set. Probably in the 1800s, if I am not wrong. So The Picture of Dorian Gray discusses a lot of issues, social issues like morality, vagabondness, debauchery, etc. This book is also a bit dialogue or discussion heavy rather than plot heavy. It deals with huge monologues, which is a recurring theme in a lot of classics like Les Miserables and Crime and Punishment. All these books contain a lot of dialogues instead of action, so if you're not a fan of that, I would say not to go for such classics. But if you do like dialogue heavy books, The Picture of Dorian Gray is the one that you should start. This is the one that will help you understand and analyze better the future classics that you will be reading, that are also heavy on the dialogue and critique of social issues and sins. Mostly I think this is a way of preaching Christianity, if I am not wrong. It has some Catholic values that it wants to present, but overall this is a very good read. Now some readers do call this a misogynistic book, but I would disagree with them, because it is quite evident that the author himself, with the narrative, the way the narrative present is, the misogyny is seen as a bad thing in this book. So even then, you should also check the trigger warnings for this book. It's also a bit heavy. Other than that, it's very easy. You should definitely get into it. Do not be intimidated by the author's name or the way that it is praised in the literary society. This is a pretty easy read. You can do it and read it and finish it in probably a day or two. Next, what I think is a good book is Verity by Colleen Hoover, for readers who want to read thrillers or adult thrillers. Verity by Colleen Hoover centers around an author, Lowen Ashley, who is struggling to make ends meet. Lowen hits a jackpot when another author, Verity's agents, decide that since Verity is out of commission due to a car accident, Lowen should come and help finish the remaining of Verity's books. While doing so, Lowen at Verity's home comes across an unfinished manuscript that will destroy the lives of Verity, the author's husband and children, if they come to know what is written in it. This book is a bit popular, you may have heard of it, but it's definitely for good cause, because not only is it a thrilling, intriguing and gripping read, but it's also very easy to read. It is not confusing, it does not hit you with wild plot twists. I mean, there are some good plot twists in the book, but not any plot twist that will make you scratch your head and struggle to understand what is going on. For an easy thriller, Verity by Colleen Hoover is definitely the one you should look for, and it is also an adult book, so check out the trigger warnings again. I mean, that goes without saying for all of the books that I will be mentioning. If you're looking for young adult thrillers, I recommend How We Fall Apart by Katie Zhao. This one is also another easy book which has a lot of tropes that you might see recurring in a lot of other YA fiction books. I enjoyed this one. It is set in a prestigious academy where the students are ready to sell their souls if only they can gain success. Our main character is being framed for things, main character and her friend group are being framed for things that they may or may not have committed by an anonymous person set out on destroying their lives. They must solve these issues when one of their other friends has gone missing. This is also a good anonymous texture kind of thrillers. This is similar to Gossip Girl on the TV show, and there are some inspiration that you might see taken from Gossip Girl. It's part of the huge subgenre of YA thrillers that has to do with anonymous texters, secrets, etc, etc. I really enjoyed this one. It's fun, it's fast paced, you might finish it in one sitting, and it's also very easy to read. So if you're a beginner reader, like I have been saying throughout the video, I have probably said those two words a million times through the entire video. If you're a beginner reader, this is definitely the book that you should pick up if you're looking to read from the YA thriller genre. So these were the few 5 to 6 books that I think beginner readers will definitely enjoy, and it will make them fall in love with reading. That was it for today. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe, like and share, and comment down below if you have read any of these books, if you disagree with my opinions or if you agree with them. Also consider subscribing, because I might be making a lot of more videos in the future. Some of them will be about the ongoing Asian Readathon. Some of them will be about the Grishaverse series. I have a whole video essay coming up on that. More details on that in the future. Again, thanks for watching. Be safe during this pandemic, and goodbye.